Hello everyone, it's Dorka. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about reverse culture shock. If you have been following me on social media or if you have seen my previous videos, then you might know that I just moved home from Taiwan. I spent overall 3 years in Taiwan learning Chinese and doing my master's degree, and I just moved back to Hungary to start working and to start my adult life. So culture shock is something you have probably heard of. It's when you visit or move to another country that has a culture that is very different from yours and things just seem a little bit strange and you need to really get used to it. On the other hand though, reverse culture shock is something that you experience when you move home from the different culture. So some definitions for reverse culture shock is it's the emotional and psychological distress suffered by some people that move home after spending a number of years overseas. Or Robin Pesco said that reverse culture shock is kind of the same feeling when you have your contact lenses in the wrong eyes. So everything looks almost right. It's not quite right, but almost right. So you come home and you have already gotten used to how life works, how people are, how everything is in that other country or culture, and even though this is where you are from and this is where you spend probably the majority of your life, it just all seems a little bit strange. So I thought it would be interesting for you to hear my own experience, how it is to move home from Asia to Europe, from Taiwan to Hungary, because there are a few things, even though I have been home for a month, that are just a little bit strange. These might be negative or maybe neutral but strange things, but obviously there are a lot of things I love about moving back home. So let me know if you're interested in that, and then I could make another video of all the things that makes me love my decision of moving home. But now I want to talk to you about 5+1 things that I experienced as a reverse culture shock. But before I would get into those, I would also need to note that usually this reverse culture shock really depends on the length of the time that you spent abroad and also the difference between the cultures of where you're from and where you moved to. And I need to say, even though Hungarian and Taiwanese culture are very different, the length of time I spent there was not that extreme. I spent overall 3 years, but only 2 years continuously now in Taiwan, and I have also visited home many times. So my reverse culture shock was not very extreme. I don't feel like I don't belong here or I'm out of place. I feel very much at home, but there are still these things that are just strange compared to Taiwan. So the first thing is actually the cleanliness of the streets. If you have seen my 5 things I love about Taiwan video, I mentioned that I love how clean and well kept the streets of Taipei are. However, in Budapest, although I'm in love with the architecture, it's all very nice, but you really should look up and not down, because our streets can be very dirty, dog poo and trash everywhere. Even though we have trash cans every single corner, people still think that throwing the trash on the ground is something acceptable. So walking around the city, especially if you're in the city center or the party quarter, it's not always a very pleasant experience. It can be stinky, it can smell really bad, and that's just something I'm really not used to after walking the clean streets of Taipei. And this actually kind of ties into the second point, which is people's attitudes towards the environment. Because I feel like in Taiwan, people really do care more about the environment, and that includes not trashing it and not throwing the trash on the ground. But it also manifests in other things like the use of plastic and choosing reusable items instead of just one use only. For example, in Taiwan, I've seen so many people taking their own cutlery, taking their own metal straws with them, so when they consume some food or drinks outside, they don't have to use those non-reusable products. They really are more conscious of not using so many plastic bags and all these things, and I feel like in Hungary we really need improvements. One thing I'm really missing is the recycling trash cans in the city. We live in a block of apartments and we do have recycling trash cans for the whole house that we do use, but when you're walking in the city and let's say you have plastic bottle of water and you would like to throw the plastic bottle, you don't really have the option to throw it into a recycling bin, because in most of the cases, except if you're in a very new and modern mall, let's say, there are no recycling cans outside, and it just really pains me to throw something recyclable out into the normal garbage. But unless you want to carry it the whole day to take it home with you so you can recycle it, you don't really have another choice. The third thing is the situation with homeless people and the problem of poverty. Even though I know Taiwan is not perfect in this regard either, but I really did not see that many homeless people on the streets. And that might be because I was living in Taipei and I only visited certain areas. I'm very aware of that. However, in Budapest, if you walk on the streets, in the city center, let's say, there are so many people living on the streets, sleeping on the ground, sleeping on benches. They're hungry, they're dirty. Sadly, also, they're often alcoholic. They just really smell of alcohol and smell bad. But this is a kind of problem that I really think our government should take more care of, because let's just say their initiatives right now are going in the wrong direction, and I feel like they handle these kind of issues in Taipei much better. So that was a really big shock when I came home walking the streets and finding myself bumping into this problem continuously. Number 4 is obesity and lifestyle differences. Now, I know not everybody in Taipei is also fit and slim, and that's okay. We have to embrace our differences, but I feel like obesity is a much bigger problem in Hungary or in Europe than in Taipei. I know there are also genetical differences. Our stature and our digestion system is very different. But still, I feel like even though also our young generation has a really well-established gym culture and fitness culture, and nowadays it's very cool to be fit and healthy, but still, even in my generation, but especially in older generations, I feel like obesity is a really big problem, and just the overall lifestyle of people. I get it, when you work you don't really have the time and energy necessarily to go out to nature instead of staying at home on your computer and watching Netflix. But still, I feel like we could really look at the example of Taiwanese, especially the older generations in Taipei. You can see old people on the streets or in the parks or up on the mountain at 6 a.m. doing Tai Chi or just walking. I really feel like they have a really good attitude towards this healthy lifestyle and going to the nature. So I kind of miss seeing that in Hungarians. And number 5 is actually especially surprising for even myself, because I used to be just like this. But ever since I came home, I realized how Hungarian girls love the sun so much. They walk on the streets with short shorts and sleeveless tops and probably no SPF at all, because we have a habit of only putting on sunscreen for the beach. And they're not afraid of the sun at all. They love it. They love to sit or lie under the sun and tan and get as brown as possible. And actually I do also like the look of brown skin, of tan skin, but I would rather use fake tans, to be honest. Ever since I came home from Taiwan, I'm kind of scared of the sunshine, because I saw how beautiful the skin of Taiwanese girls is and how they have no wrinkles. And at first I thought it was really strange, even funny, how they protect themselves against the sun, how they use the umbrellas and walk around with their umbrellas open under the sunshine, how they wear long sleeves and just try to hide their skin as much as possible. But now I get it. And especially I know Taiwanese sun is even like harsher than the one here in Hungary, let's say. But still, I think it's really important to take care of our skin. And yeah, I don't know, I just couldn't live the way and love the sun the same way as Hungarian girls do anymore. And just to end this video on a positive note, I decided to add a +1 to these 5 things, which is you're one of us. I am one of them, and it is the best feeling ever. It is kind of a culture shock, because I'm so used to being the outsider, being the Waigorren, being the Lawai, that is just never gonna fit in, and they always look at you, and whenever someone talks to you, they will ask you, Oh, where are you from? How old are you? What are you doing? Are you working? Are you studying? And finally, it's not like that at all. I'm finally home and it's the best feeling ever. And again, if you're interested in all the things I love about coming home and being in Hungary as opposed to Taiwan, then just let me know down in the comments. I would be happy to make a video about that as well. But for now, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. My next video is probably going to be about Hungarian food and my top recommendations on what and where to eat if you come to Budapest, as one of you guys suggested. I'm wishing you a great weekend until then, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!